I'm not sure I even consider myself an activist in the traditional mode. I guess there's all various levels of activism. You picture activism as people out marching, and we certainly have been marching ever since January 20th, 2017. Two or three different marches because of the election. But normally I wouldn't consider myself an activist in the terms of demonstrations in towns and cities and things like that. But marches and holding signs, I guess I'm that kind of an activist. We knew that Jordan Cove was happening in our community. We were against it, but not actively against it. I think we may have been to one meeting or so to learn about it, but it wasn't until I still remember that, oh, we're getting a FedEx delivery, great. Well, I wonder what Sylvia ordered this time. And then it was an envelope, one of those overnight letter envelopes. I said, this is kind of legal stuff. Sometimes those can be a little scary. And then opened it, and it was just like jaw-dropping, mouth open. You are on the route for the Pacific Gas Connector, and that's the first we'd ever heard of it. It was just completely. But that kicked us into gear. That was like Red Bull for activism for us. That initial kick in the stomach, that initial introduction into this fossil fuel issue, the natural gas pipeline issue, that's what kickstarted our activity, and we haven't stopped since. I don't think we've ever written so many letters, talked to so many people, written foreign countries, had news, press releases here, had press interviews here. It's just. I'm not sure what we did with all the free time we had before, now that we were involved with this. I think with this pipeline, that's what we're involved with right now. We have a 911. We've got an emergency going on with our property, with losing that, and that's what we're most focused on right now. Climate issues, even some of the issues, the coal issues are important, the Native American issues are important, all those are important, but we're in the emergency room right now with the eminent domain. Once we get out of the emergency room into the regular hospital, then we can start taking care of those other aches and pains and the diseases that we have of our area. But right now, the focus is on land and it being taken. Well, I think it's just the root cause of it's money, and people will do anything, they'll say anything to make more money, and ride roughshod over people to get something done. Whether it's a power line that has to dip down to get going around an expensive area, then jump back up around a poor area, or whether it's moved from a rich neighborhood down to an area that's going to affect native cultures. I think what's really most important to us is this country has to have a different outlook. Many things need to be changed, but one of the things of the land ethic, we need to have a different value of our land ownership. We need to see it as not someone owns this title of this land and they're able to do anything they want with it, and they fight the government if the government says, well, you should be doing this or that. We need a completely new ethic that's been postulated by many people that talk about being good stewards. We're part-time caretakers is what we are. We're not We're not the landowners that think we can make any changes we want. We're holding our land and managing our land for our grandkids, really not for us. So I think that's one of the most important things is having the caretaker philosophy of land ownership. Well, ultimately, I think it's the health of the planet. I think ultimately, I mean, on down the line, it's the survivability of the planet. What kind of world are we going to create, and how long will life? I mean, it sounds extreme, but how long will life live on the planet? Carried to the extreme. In the short term, it's the quality of life. What kind of quality of life do we want to have in our community? Dealing with this pipeline, it's not just the safety issue. It's not just the taking the private land from homeowners, but what type of industries do we want, and how are they going to affect this beautiful Oregon coast? What kind of people are we going to drive away? Perhaps even ourselves included from this area. Well, you know, I think the personal stories of people, of how they're affected, I think that's probably the most moving to me. And you know, having experienced it myself and watching some of the other landowners, how they are affected and how they tell their story. And what's so effective about it is that there's the whole cross-section of political values in that, from the left to the right and in the middle of it, all those. And a right-wing conservative speaking of his land and how important it is, that can translate just as effectively to a liberal from Eugene person, that realizing the importance of having that private land. So I think those are some of the most effective, the heartfelt stories of people fighting for their land. This is going to be a standing rock here if FERC gets to the point of even getting close to approving this. And I think we're going to be looking to what activities there with both environmental issues, water issues, fishery issues, and native citizens issues, like it was handled. It'll be very, very similar. And it's not just there and here. It's many of them. All the environmental concerns, I think, are going to have that mix of both Native Americans, fisheries, climate, and I think each one will maybe be the template for the next one. Every one will be a learning experience, and every standing rock, every Coos Bay, every time there is a major issue, every LNG, we'll learn more, we'll do it better, and improve that activism.